Good morning. Greg Surratt here with a little morning encouragement and happy Father's Day. I've got a Father's Day story for you. I'll apologize up front. It's a little bit longer than usual, but I've got something good for you at the end. So, in a past life, I was a basketball coach. Not a very good one, just okay, I guess. Probably don't give myself enough credit. I did all right considering that I never played basketball. I was a wrestler in high school. The two sports competed for the same time slot in Colorado when I was in school, so I chose wrestling. Well, it wasn't much of a choice, really. Basketball wasn't really an option for me. I have a body built for something else. Sometimes I wonder what God was thinking when He created mine. He certainly wasn't thinking hoops, that's for sure. And neither was I, until my boys started playing and I wanted to stay involved in their lives. So I started coaching them in the rec leagues around Charleston when we first moved to town and started the church. It was a way to meet people and to stay in the kids' lives. My boys were quick and athletic, and we got by on hustle and attitude. We didn't need plays, and it was a good thing because I didn't know any. And then the middle school coach in the middle school that they attended asked me to help him out. And I said yes. Anything to stay close to my boys during those challenging years. And we did all right and had fun until the coach quit. And I didn't expect this. The school asked me to step in and fill the gap. And again, I said yes. How hard could this be? Well, it wasn't. Hard, that is. We had fun. We got by on talent and hustle, and we won a lot. The boys loved it. The parents were satisfied. And the school was just happy to have a middle school coach on the cheap. And then the varsity coach decided that he was going to start a business. He needed to go make some money, something the small Christian school didn't have a large supply of. So once again, they asked me if I would step up. And I said yes. How hard could this be? Well, it was hard. Like one of the hardest things I've ever done. The competition was fierce. Some of the parents were insane, and the job required more than I was equipped to give. I remember going to the library. Now, this is pre-internet, all right? And checking out some books written by legendary coaches and putting together a few plays and some rudimentary game plans, all the while pastoring a young, growing church plant that desperately needed my attention. It was a crazy season in a lot of ways. But I had said yes. I won't bore you with the details of how that single season of my high school coaching career played out. Let's just say it wasn't pretty. And let's just say I won't be in the Hall of Fame. But I coached against a guy who probably will be when he hangs up his clipboard. This year, he will become the winningest basketball coach in South Carolina history. He'll chalk up over 1,000 wins before he's done. He's a legend in the Low Country. His name is Pat Edson, and he was on the opposing bench for our homecoming game in my single season as head coach at First Baptist Church School. I don't know who scheduled that. Homecoming? Seriously? They were the defending state champs. Their 6'7" point guard was his son, and he would go on to start for South Carolina for all 4 years and then have a long career in pro ball. Their other guard was a 6'5" sharpshooter who would be all-state that year for the eventual repeat state championship team. And to make matters worse, he had played for us the year before. We were way overmatched. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the football game between these same two teams, which was played earlier that year. We were well ahead with the clock ticking down in the fourth quarter. Our coach called the timeout with just a few seconds to go and instructed our son, Josh, to throw the ball in the end zone. It was something about a grudge that he had with the other football coach. Touchdown. Our fans went nuts as the clock counted down to 0. But not me. I spotted Pat Edson on the opposing bleachers, and he obviously wasn't happy. I turned to my wife amidst the bedlam and said, "This is not going to go well for me later this year in my first year coaching. Well, it didn't. They were relentless in that homecoming game. They scored over 100 points in our gym, and we mustered less than 50. It was humiliating. It's not fun paying for someone else's sin. Does anybody have a testimony on that? And so Pat called me on the way home that night to explain that it wasn't about me. I already knew that. I gave him a piece of my mind, and we didn't have the occasion to speak much for the next couple of decades until his family started coming to our church. And last night, we sat together at a small social event, the birthday of a friend, and laughed and reminisced about that painful encounter so many years ago. I went back to pastoring a church, and he continued to influence young men and become the winningest coach in history. He grabbed me just before I left, and in a private moment asked if I was ever amazed at how God had used me. I thought I could see a glimmer of tear in his eye, and I knew why he was asking. It wasn't so much about me as it was about us and a shared human experience. When you know where you came from and you see where you are and you realize the lives that are impacted in the process, you're sometimes left with no words, just a sense of wonder. At some point in time, you said a simple yes. You weren't sure you had what it takes, and maybe you still don't know. But your yes gave God something to work with, and He is able to do more than you could ever ask or imagine. It's just a simple yes. That's how things usually begin. You never know the impact that your yes will have. Well, you may be in a great place right now. It may be a good season, or you may be in a difficult one, like the one that I was in so many years ago, and you feel in way over your head. Can I remind you that God's got this? He's got you right where He wants you, and your yes is making a difference. And one more thing, I'm in your corner. If you enjoy these morning encouragements, why don't you subscribe, like, comment, or share it with a friend? And until next time, you have a blessed and happy Father's Day Sunday.